I'm going to just ask just really quickly, just sort of like about the audience. If you was to just give like 1 minute on the audience of the future, Matt, Angela, Nick, and Gillian, not excluding you, Mark. I just want to make sure everyone's got. What do you think the audience of the future, like where will you be targeting in the future, like in terms of platforms, in terms of demographics? Is it just local? Is it global? What type of people will you be? And that's a big question. But what's the audience of the future? What do you think they're going to be wanting to do, and how do you think they're going to want to be doing it?
That's the golden question. How are they going to want to be doing it? But I also think there's a look at it in terms of 3 blocks as well. We kind of live in a world where there's people who have little to no digital fluency. We have adopters who probably were born and grew up in a world without much technology and are adopting it. And then you have those who are born directly into the digital era. The only thing that's clear is that the last 2 of those groups are going to grow and the first one isn't. So you're going to have more and more people who are very comfortable, more so than even you, Keith, in the digital world. So I think that's, for a lot of charities, is the area to really start looking at, and to think in that way, and to see what the patterns are, and to see what the mindsets are of perhaps the younger generations, because the younger generation is always the next generation, or is the future, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Does anyone else have anything to add to the audience of the future? Big question.
Yeah, I'll go. Just to add to that, it's kind of hard to know where people and their interest in technology will be in the future, but there definitely is a space and we should be engaging in it. As mentioned, the younger generation was born in a digital world, and I think there's a great opportunity to engage the younger generation. They're already crowdfunding and peer-to-peer fundraising and streaming, and we should really tap into that. And, like Mark mentioned earlier, just meeting people exactly where they are. We're going to have to look at the younger generations to be philanthropic in the future. So again, just meeting them where they are. And, in terms of acquisition, it's definitely changed for us over the years. Our events have been very, live and local, and we've really broadened that with our virtual space. So, a lot of our marketing has gone from out of home to digital, and, we've tested across all social media markets, and the results really do differ depending on the audience. So, there really is no one size fits all approach to acquisition, but this is something that we'll just really have to keep in tune with over the years and refine.
Great. Anything to add on that, Gillian or Nick?
Yeah, on the heels of the past 18 months, I think what we're hearing from the nonprofit organizations we're working with is we have to have these events, and that sounds great to me. I produce live events, but we know that human connection is more important than ever, and that while we want to continue to offer really incredible virtual participation options, we're hearing from organizations that these events are a community, and our community really wants to come back together. But I'm also the parent of teenagers, and I understand that this is the world they live in. And so the beauty of peer-to-peer fundraising is that it's always been about people who maybe are average, not wealthy, not top donors who can get that kind of recognition or involvement at the charity level, but average people who can leverage a network to come together and leverage an experience to raise dollars and sometimes really incredible amounts of money for causes that are near and dear to them. And I could, this maybe isn't in the next 2 to 10, maybe a little bit further out than that, but I think tapping Gen Z in this way and creating the experiences they crave is going to become more important than ever. So, yeah.
It's a great point. I love that. I think that's something we all need to remember is, the future generation, where are they going to be hanging out, and what are they used to, and how are they going to give, and how do you connect with them? That's going to be a very interesting sort of like solution. Nick, do you have anything to add before I close?
Yeah, I think I would twist it slightly and say the audience of the future is an understood audience, is a listened to audience, and so it doesn't have to be going to a teenager. It could be someone of your mighty age, Keith. And just the more understood everyone is, the more listened to everybody is. That's the audience you need to focus on. So work out your audience and understand them and listen to them and use social listening, use the technology tools available to you to do that, and I think that's the audience of the future is the ones that are best engaged with